This content is brought to you by Huawei.
It will be a combination of eye tracking and brainwaves.
Brainwaves?
Yeah. Did you once try a device with eye tracking? It really worked well?
No.
That was for me kind of this once in a lifetime moment. Whatever you do here with a touch screen or a mouse, you feel like that's dark ages, basically, technology.
Really?
Yeah. You feel like, why the heck did we scroll like that?
In this episode, I'm excited to have a captivating conversation with Sebastian, the founder of Almer. I'm your host, Cedric Bullock, and this podcast is proudly sponsored by Huawei. Almer is revolutionizing remote support for industrial application through augmented reality. Their innovative solution combines Almer AR glasses with leading software partners, creating a seamless service ecosystem. By displaying expertise directly into the worker's field of view, problems can be solved remotely and downtime reduced to the minimum, streamlining communication like never before. Join us as we explore the journey of Almer, discover how they are reshaping industrial support with augmented reality, and explore the limitless possibilities for industrial applications. Thank you for being part of our community. Let's dive into the world of Almer together. So, Sebastian, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate for you taking the time, give me a little bit of an insight about your company and about yourself. So, everybody's always curious to know who you are, but more importantly, what does your startup do? So let's just start. Tell me a little bit about what Almer does.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming. What Almer does is basically we make really effortless augmented reality, so really extend the capabilities of humans. And we start with that with the industry for remote assistance, basically.
So remote assistance is anything that I'm in one place and someone else needs to fix something and they can then be there in real time.
Yeah, exactly. It's really for kind of basically transfer the know-how from the expert know-how to the place where you need it. So if in case a machine breaks down, and that often costs crazy amounts, so they used to fly the experts to the machine, and basically now they can just have the Almer Arc there, and if there's a problem, frontline worker can take it out of the box and take it on.
Yes,
basically really just a band or ski goggles.
Yes.
Swiss ski goggles.
And that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the expert basically sees and hears, thanks to the sensors, basically what I see exactly. And he can now tell me what I should say. Or mark me object in reality.
It just reminds me of Google Glass. You remember
Google
Glass?
Sure. We were very excited about Google Glass and the potentials. And we also kind of worked all in those fields at Microsoft Research on the HoloLens. We have friends that worked at Magic Leap. And we were just very upset, basically, that this is not advancing enough. Because we think really that this is a super important technology to advance humans and humanity and enhance the capabilities of humans. Because now, since ChatGPT, kind of everyone got to know that there's really something coming, right? And there's really a crazy amount of development going on in the intelligence of machines. And we have to make use of that in a smart way. And there the smart interface is really crucial. And we see the big promise of AR is really that those devices can really be a really great interface, a really natural interface to machine intelligence. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be pushed. We don't see AR as kind of Iron Man suit where you get distracted by a lot of animations. That's not what we want. Reality is still the most important part, but we want to enhance the capabilities of humans.
What does it look practically speaking? What do you enhance?
Yeah, basically really the know-how. So basically, most of the time we try not to display much, actually. But when we display, it's really contextual aware and really to the point.
Yes. So I guess you got very excited when Apple announced their vision.
Yeah, we exchanged with them also, basically, about the future plans.
And then they took all of your IP?
No. I think it is interesting that there's movement in this space. It's, of course, also a risk, basically, from the side that if Apple fails, then everyone says, yeah, even Apple failed. How can you do it even? Their device is kind of much larger, and they need to rethink completely for a more consumer-aware device. In the end, now it's really a developer device, right? And if they want to make something that really scales, they need to go 10 times smaller. And 10 times smaller, you can't just optimize. You have to rethink everything from scratch.
But Magic Leap had the same idea, no? Magic Leap burned so much money till now.
Yeah, but because they're super inefficient, unfocused, and can't really
nothing good to say about them.
Not too much. I mean, they are really great in marketing and inspiring people. So I think that's where their strength is, not so much in technology, I would say.
But did you ever see something from them? Like,
the Magic Leap one, we tried it on, of course.
And like technologically speaking, like you felt like it was not like.
Yeah, I think the HoloLens is kind of from technology point of view better. Still too complex and not a really good product, but technology-wise better. But it's just generally those two products are way too clunky and way too heavy to get really adoption outside of innovation teams. That's kind of the thing.
Cool. So tell me, how did you get into this? I mean, what inspired you to get started?
Yeah, basically, I mean, really what I said, we did research in that, 3D computer vision, robotics, and everything related to that. So we kind of saw quite a lot going on, and we just were very frustrated. And we think it's really, really important that this interface to enhance humans is really pushed and gets to reality. And that's the reason why we started.
And did you work at the ETH, or where did you do it?
Yeah, basically
with Mark Kuskos.
So
because he's
with
very
Mark, So kind of different. I first studied at EPFL, where I also got to know my co-founder. Then I went to Delft, where I got to know more kind of about autonomous driving. Then I went to China and Shenzhen, where I really slipped into AR because I didn't want it to work for surveillance. So that's kind of why I went to mobile devices, because it's really different. So basically the research I'm doing can't be used for surveillance. And there, I really started with getting in touch with AR. We did the lab that I worked with, really did a really new algorithm that is now in the Apple AR kit. I don't know if you know that. That's now in every iPhone. So that was interesting to see. And that's when first time I got in touch with big companies working really on big AR projects. Then during Corona, I had to come back to Switzerland, where Mark offered me to continue working. And then saw that and was like, hey, can't we do something better? Then we remarked like, hey, hell yeah.
So tell me, what's the size of your team right now? How many people are working on this?
Ooh, it changes basically daily. Currently, it's increasing. I think we're more than 20 now. So and we have a base here in Bern, actually, not in Zurich, kind of in between EPFL and ETH.
Yes,
Swiss deal, and in Bucharest in Romania.
That's the developers, I assume.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, exactly.
Tell me, so I see, I mean, like I see it here already. So like, I guess at least it's beyond the prototype phase.
Yeah.
What's the stage of development right now? Is it like already purchasable?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we actually have it in the first production of those devices was nearly 1 year ago. Not yet completely 1 year ago. And we delivered the first ones in September and October last year.
Okay.
To our customers, and that was really great. We learned a lot from it. The first 50 started burning on people's head and really
burning.
yeah, it was really not the best thing. So we learned a lot from that things, or stopped working randomly and all that stuff. So we were really happy that we started really small scale.
Yes.
And I'm really grateful for all the customers that we have. We love them. They're so nice, and they gave us so many feedbacks and so many good insights that basically all those wishes and improvements we now incorporated into the ARC 2. So that's one thing that I got from China, where like as fast as China
Yes.
in development speed. So we just launched now the pre-production of the Arc 2, which is the kind of the model after this one.
Yeah.
That we're gonna launch in Q1, basically.
To sell and then ship in
Q1.
Oh, ship in Q1. So it's being produced at the end of the year now, and then wow.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, one of the things in venture capital, what they say is hardware is hard.
Yeah.
So tell me, how has it been going for you to raise money for this type of project?
It's hard to compare.
Yes.
I think it went pretty smooth. Also because, I mean, we really built unique know-how in Europe. We're one of the only ones that have the know-how now to build such devices. Otherwise, it's only US and Chinese companies that can do that. And we really, when we've announced them and introduced them to the market last year, it really was so positive. We got so many positive responses, and even we had to raise the prices actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? Like why did
too many pilot customers, and we said like we don't have that many devices, and so we just raised, like basically said, who pays upfront everything? Still too many. Who pays a bit more? Okay. so that really kind of got then the interest.
What was the price? Like where did you start, and what did you end up selling it for?
I can't say the details, but because we were also just kind of finding the prices basically, but
yes.
I think we kind of in the end ended up 10% more than what we will offer it for now.
Mm-hmm.
So
the price is not public knowledge?
I mean, there was kind of pilot package combined, and so right. There's but if you buy now one basically, or the customers that will prolong it, they will get it like 10% cheaper basically for the same.
Oh, okay, I understand.
But I mean, they could also have a lot of influence basically on shaping a product like that. That's
for sure.
Very kind of
for sure. I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, like I always said, like I would love to be customer number one. Usually, you get most attention from the people at the company because, like,
or customer number 3, I guess.
3, I come. Like, what do we?
Yeah, kind of the first one is really kind of just a shit show and all-nighters basically. I would say. And then the second one, you start to set up processes, and the third one kind of processes and stuff works, I would say, so that you can actually do valuable feedback, something like that, I think.
Interesting. And tell me, when you look at the how you were able to build this demand, that you have the flexibility to change the price during the negotiations. Like, how is that? Like, how did that come? Like, people just knocked on your door, or you used some advertising strategies?
I mean, it's not magic, right? It's all hard work in the end. Even though everyone wants that it's magic, but it's not. It's hard work basically. And I think for us, it was really important that we had exchange with the customers, like really before we even started prototyping. Mm-hmm. And that really helped to make something that is really down to earth and really with the focus of helping people, not to kind of, as I said, not an Iron Man suit, but something that really helps. And for that, we really made prototypes with kind of where we just glued a Raspberry Pi on a helmet and a smartphone and then started testing basically. And the first voice recognition was basically Timon, my co-founder, telling the worker, if you say next, it will go to the next thing. And then you saw the worker saying next, and Timon in the back hit the key. so super rapid prototyping. And then when we iterated until basically the customer said, we want to buy this prototype. And then they were like, no, you can't buy that. You can't buy Timon. But we kind of had assurance then that actually it's something that really helps people. And then if you have that, because that's in the end a company, right? It's a group of people that make something for others that helps them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you have that, you also have demand. And by building this kind of prototype, we already built up also relationships with customers. And that's kind of how it came into being, basically.
It's still very hard for me to imagine walking around with something like this on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So I guess like your consumer, when you talk about consumer, it's not necessarily a consumer like someone randomly who walks around the street, they will walk like this. It's more like someone in a professional setting that is using this. Is this something that I understand correctly? Or like, is it more aimed really like the same way as we have phones now, it will replace the screen of a phone?
Yeah, I mean, there you have to differentiate between now and future. But now Almer is focusing on the industrial, like professional market. But in the future, I don't think it will replace smartphones completely, but it will enable completely new things that we couldn't think of even so far. It's similar to, I don't know, laptops are also still here. We just use the smartphone a lot more because it can do a lot smarter things, right? Because the smartphone actually understands. It has a GPS, it has a camera. It has a lot more sensors and can make a lot more sense in your environment and sense what you want, basically. And AR devices have the potential to really bring that to a whole other level, because it's the first device that sees the reality as you see it, basically, nearly constantly. And based on that, it can then really assist you perfectly well through your life, basically. And that's kind of the thing. I can show you afterwards a small demo.
Yes.
of a, it's not a product, but it's a kind of a research prototype, which is blew some people's mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then I think AR, that it really is adopted in the future. It needs kind of this mouse for the computer or the touch screen for the smartphone moment, which is still not here.
Which will be something hand gestures?
The interface. No, definitely not hand gestures. Because one of the kind of biggest USPs of AR glasses is that it's hands-free. So if you need hands to interact with it, it's kind of
pointless.
Yeah, super pointless.
So
it looks really retarded.
So what will it be? Voice?
I think it will be a combination of eye tracking and brain waves.
Brain waves?
Yeah. And we're working
so
on
I'm
that.
thinking like, who is this guy on LinkedIn? And then it shows me a profile.
I think it already is actually much simpler already. But if you can have a cursor with the eyes and then just a selection basically with your brain, that will, is completely crazy. I mean, already, I don't know. Did you once try a device with eye tracking? It really worked well?
No.
That was for me kind of this once in a lifetime moment.
Where you say like this is it.
Because you feel like whatever you do here with a touch screen or a mouse, you feel like that's dark ages, basically. Technology.
Really?
Yeah. You feel like, why the heck did we scroll like that? That's so unintuitive.
But you have to be able to control your eye.
No, that's a good thing. Like you don't even do it. Like scrolling, basically, it just centers where you look at, basically, and where your interest is. So where your interest is, you just look there where your interest is. So if you look a bit further up, it just centers it again. Mm-hmm. And then it's whatever you're interested in, it's just always centered. And you feel like magic. so that's
a magic leap.
That's a giant leap. So I think it needs something like that. And we're working on that. Mm-hmm. Won't be in dark too yet,
but that's the goal.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
And I think
but you mentioned before like use cases. Can you elaborate on the use cases a little bit more, just to make it a little bit more practical? Because again, like
sure. I mean, really now it's basically for frontline workers that have a question and don't know how to solve it and can make a call with the expert, and the expert can basically highlight them objects in reality and say like, okay, check out this, open this screw, and then show them 3D models and say, hey, that's how it should look like.
But the person on site still needs to understand what to do then, no? Like, or like they tell you that you're in your ear, like, okay, like take a screwdriver, open the screw, close the screw.
Yeah, or they just show them in the reality, hey, check out this screw. That's also a big advantage over normal video conferencing, because they often complain that in normal video conferencing, they say like, yeah, the screw on the top right. And then they're like, where's top right? And if you can really mark it like here, that's check out this screw, don't press this button. that
don't
really,
cut this line.
Exactly. So that's kind of one use case, and the other use case is in logistics, in warehouses, where basically workers kind of pick certain boxes and put them in the right things. For instance, for Coca-Cola, where they need to take the bottles and put them in the right trucks. Beforehand, they actually made quite a lot of errors, and then the wrong bottles went to the wrong direction, and that costs a lot of money. And now basically with AR, you get your Coke delivered correctly.
Interesting, because I was thinking first it might be a challenge. The internet, if it's like a delay for, let's say, a second and a half, I see it sometimes with our security cameras, and you try to tell someone, okay, go to the left.
Yeah.
Then they go to the left only like a little bit too late, and that can be, again, like for me it's not so relevant, but like if you are like, let's say, doing something explosive.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good question. So there's a lot of nitty-gritty details that need to be resolved and improved, and there's a lot of engineering sweat that goes into it. That's what keeps us awake at night, and we kind of
So tell me, just want to go back a little bit about the fundraising. So how much have you raised till now? Who are your investors?
I mean, we just closed an investment round of 5.1 million. I mean, already feels pretty long ago. End of Q1.
Feels long because it's all gone, or because
no, because basically it's just so many things happened again, and we had kind of achieved so many new things and learned so many new things that it feels like ages again. And pretty big investors from the industry. We're really happy with them. I can't name all the names, sadly, but they're super cool. We're really happy. We can learn so much from them. So that's really valuable.
But you can't name it because it's not announced yet, or because they strategically don't want...
They don't want, basically.
They don't want to know that they know you.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. So I guess like they're the ones that are also going to buy you at some time. Or like,
I mean, we said like we want to stay independent, basically. I mean, let's see. They doesn't have to be, and we made all the terms that we stay completely independent, and also told them that we gonna partner with other ones also.
Oh, so they know it's...
we said that from the beginning.
Yeah, that's smart, because then at some point probably someone wants exclusivity, and then you can say like...
Yeah, I mean, they also have to... Maybe they also partner with others, so it's just... But at the moment, we can learn a lot from each other, and so that's super valuable, and we're very grateful for the opportunity.
Sure. I mean, like, again, like, I guess you're still like, what was that, Series A, or was it seed
C2 kind of.
C2.
Yeah.
What was seed one? How much was that?
It was 1.2 million, I think.
And that was a year ago, or when was it?
Yeah, that was more or less a year ago. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. So tell me, like, how kind of like, when if you look at your team now, like what is important to you as kind of like the leader or the founder of that company? What are you trying to foster as kind of like in terms of leadership and culture?
I think what is really important is that you kind of work together and I mean, push each other and exchange. We have so many different kind of minds, from, physicists to electrotechnician, microtechnology engineers, productions, and software engineers from really, we even do the whole operating system and the drivers up to the back end. So there's a crazy one that we're doing. There's not that many even software companies that are stupid enough to do all of that, basically. And so we have the opportunity to really optimize all over everything, but that needs a lot of interdisciplinary work. And that's where we're really good at, I think. And that we really also foster that people just, I don't know, the mechanical engineer goes to the electrical engineer and says, hey guys, if you change that, it would make my life so much easier. Can you do that? And the electrical engineer is most often like, oh, no problem. Yeah. Why didn't you ask earlier? Kind of such situations. And then you really come up with a device and a product that is actually useful.
Where you basically kind of like bring in-house all of these skills, but you don't even know yet what you're going to use.
No, we know it. Yeah.
No, I'm saying like, and then try to make sure that like they communicate in a way that they understand what everybody needs without the...
Yeah, exactly. And that you really, I mean, we know we need electronics and that, but the exact details, how it looks, is a lot of iterations basically.
Yes.
And kind of, I don't know, sometimes if you have more space for electronics, it makes it much easier for the electronic guy, and we can make it much more affordable, while it makes it a bit harder for the mechanical engineer. And then if you have kind of compartmentalized company and structures, then the electrical engineers just do something and then push it to the mechanical department, and then they jump out of the window because they need to do something that is completely weird and sucks. and so really striving for global optimization. That's kind of what we're doing, and that's where big companies are bad at.
Meaning like being this efficient, bring this efficiency into
and really bringing all the disciplines together.
But do you think that's because of the size of your team, meaning it's rather small compared to a corporate, or you're saying like
I think it helps naturally if you're smaller and have a few people working together.
Right, for sure, absolutely.
And we just play that even stronger. If we have an advantage, we play it even stronger.
Yeah,
that's
for
our
sure.
game.
I mean, that's probably one of the main advantages of a startup.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like the speed of execution, iterations, flat hierarchy. So I think the more you can make use out of that, the better. Yeah. Tell me, in terms of KPIs, I mean, I assume that shipping devices and revenue is definitely one of them. But what would you say is like your biggest KPIs that you kind of like check on a daily basis? Like that if you're getting into the right direction with the company?
That's hard to say. Actually, we're still kind of pre-KPI phase where we have we know our kind of roadmap where to go, but it just changes still so quickly with customer requests and improvements that we don't have that many KPIs yet, actually. So, I mean, in the future, of course, it's going to be kind of shipments, but that's kind of, we had it sometimes for 1 quarter, and then we said, now we don't need that anymore because
you shipped.
Exactly.
It's not a priority, yes.
So it changes quite frequently, basically. What is now really important that we communicated clearly to the whole team is just that it completely works, that it's really solid, and that really is a super solid product that we're gonna do.
Tell me, I mean, every entrepreneur goes through stages where it's tough. If you look at the hardware/AR industry, what do you say is the toughest part of that industry?
I mean, it is a super complex product, much more complex than smartphones. That's what most people don't get. And there are a lot of challenges, I think, concerning that. I think as a whole market, the kind of product market fit is still kind of needs to have a much higher emphasis on, I think. I mean, Magic Leap is a good example of that. They got a lot of funding, but no product market fit. No one wants it, really. And that's I think overall one of the kind of what I think as a market should focus a lot more. For us, it's really about getting everything together, because we started off as a bunch of smart, hardworking juniors, but not that much experience, and then kind of learning on the way and making mistakes and improving that.
So what were some of these learnings and mistakes? Can you recall some of them where you say oh, you wish you knew beforehand?
Yeah, it's actually quite astonishing that we kind of expected most of them already beforehand.
Okay.
I think one of the things was probably heat management. We kind of expected that, where we just ignored it because we didn't have time.
And then it exploded in people's faces.
No, it's not exploding. It's more that basically we just remarked when it got really hot beginning of the summer that, hey, we actually built only a model for the winter. Basically, they stopped working all.
That's crazy.
So we had to do, we, our electrical engineer and Timon really did a few all-nighters and came up with a solution. Really felt like Apollo mission to recover the devices, and they came up with a solution that we can refurbish all the devices at the customer very efficiently. But I mean, that hurts if you deliver something and then need to recall them. That hurts a lot.
For sure. I mean,
that's one of the things. And I think software wise, we underestimated the complexity sometimes a bit. especially for the whole remote assistance call there, that we underestimated the complexity.
Sure. So tell me, if you look back more about like some personal topic, going a little bit away from the company itself, but I think every entrepreneur has like some kind of like story back in their childhood where they say like that was the moment you wanted to become an entrepreneur or you wanted to become independent. Do you remember something like where you say like this was the key moment where you say like, oh, like this was it, that like you want to become an entrepreneur?
I don't have actually a key moment that where I said like I want to become an entrepreneur. It's just, I mean, my father and my grandfather and my uncle from this side, they're all entrepreneurs. So I basically
so you had to.
No, but it's just kind of natural. I grew up basically under when I went to my father on the weekend, he was basically in the office, and for me, that was actually kind of fun because there were always cookies and funny numbers to look at.
Yes.
and if there was a family gathering, it often was kind of a business meeting, you could say. And so I got early used to that. And yeah, that is one thing that I kind of just got used to that. And the other thing is really, I think when I was in second class in school, there was this WWF coming and the CO2 footprint calculator, basically where they ask us questions and then they showed us how many Earth we would need if everyone on the Earth would live in our standard. And it was like 6.3 in average, I think, at the school. And so that really struck me as hey, it's a super privilege to live here, to be able to go to school, to learn so much, basically. And I want to bring that down to zero and really give something back. Mm-hmm. And probably the most impactful way how you can do it is if you improve the life a little bit for a lot of people. That really scales, basically. It's you can kind of go to a cave and stay there and don't do anything anymore.
Yes.
Then you also have it probably low, but still, if you have, if you get sick, you go to the hospital, it's immediately up again.
Yes.
So probably one of the best ways is really to scale it and make it a little bit better. And that's exactly what this one is, basically, because now with this one, there are a lot of people that need to fly a lot less. And that's the nice thing about new technology, basically, with the companies, even if they don't care about CO2, they still buy it because they can save a lot of money. But as a side effect, they also save a lot of CO2. So that's really the neat thing of technology. And that's really why I believe in innovation and technology, because it can really drive improvements for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you several times mentioned all-nighters, which again is like probably not so healthy all the time. But tell me, like, what is it that you do to balance out like your work? Is there anything that you do like in your free time?
I have a bit troubles with the word balance out, because I think work is really an essential part of life, and it's not to balance out, but just to complement it.
Okay.
Because we anyway spend most of the time with work, or a big amount of our life with work, and so I better have fun at it. So, and so I think one of the most important parts is that you actually enjoy what you're doing at mm-hmm. work, because then it's kind of also a hobby, basically.
Yes.
And also for instance, even the daily today of the software meeting, it was just so much fun. We laughed so much. And you're like, everyone just leaves with a big smile. Even though it was a dry daily meeting, everyone just had fun and was excited to start work.
Right.
So I think that's one of the most important parts.
To enjoy it so much that you don't even need to balance it, let's say, quote unquote.
Yeah, I think that's kind of
very good.
Important.
Tell me, how does it look to you? Where do you look for inspiration? Is there any books? Any books you can recommend?
Capitalism Without Capital, I think, is pretty good. And I think people should read more sci-fi.
Sci-fi?
Yeah, because it kind of, often they're pretty optimistic about the future, and kind of think a bit out of the box. It helps you to think a bit out of the box. I mean, why don't we have flying cars? Hey.
Interesting. So you're saying you get inspiration from sci-fi, what you could develop because...
Yeah, or just kind of thinking a bit larger, not just how can we make a 10% improvement. That's boring. Like that doesn't move a lot. If you think about how can we get something completely new, that kind of reality sets in early enough.
Sure.
Anyway. So.
Sure. Well, so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And
thank you so
I
much.
wish you a lot of success. And I can't wait, to cheer you on from the sideline. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.